quite an interesting discussion of this process and our thoughts about it. As a way to summarize, I guess, really it came down to a fourth option and phase 4.5 of the planning process. We believe quite strongly that we need a fourth option that has a blue blob that covers all of what you see there, but it actually is a farm right now. So right here, blue blob. Right here, big question mark. Right? I mean, and the reason why I think that needs to be a big question mark, and I think most of the people around the table agree with me about this, is that we see anything else as a wedging of one set of issues against another. And this shouldn't be about the farm versus housing or green space on the campus versus the farm. I think we can do all those things, but it isn't up to us to come up with those solutions. We need campus planning to come back with a plan for us. I think it was well articulated before that we're a bunch of people who don't necessarily have these job skills, and we're definitely not being paid to do that work. And given that this is a public institution and we are members of the public, and there's been an overwhelming demand that this be done, we would like to see a fourth option brought back in phase 4.5 so that we can actually consult on what people think about that fourth option, or whatever variety of different options that actually protect the farm could be brought back for us to talk about. It was said at an Alma Mater Society meeting last night that the Friends of the Farm had hijacked this process. That large groups of us had showed up and had really taken the honest discussion of different options on campus off the table. And I really think that's an unfair way to characterize the process. And I think it's really important that when a presentation is made to the Board of Governors, that isn't the message that's heard. I think that really what's happened. What's that, sir?
Who made that message?
I'm not sure. I wasn't there. I just heard that was said.
Quoted it. Someone hinted at the last episode or issue of the UBC. You can see that message coming from campus community planning a little bit. I think that needs to be adjusted in your rhetoric.
So I think it's really important that when we talk about, when this message comes back to the board, I think it's important that really what's said is that large numbers of concerned citizens and students from a variety of different groups and organizations showed up and made sure that their voices were heard and wanted to make sure that that voice was brought to the Board of Governors in a fair and accurate way. And my next point is also about what's said to the Board of Governors on our behalf by the staff of this institution. It has to do with the Lees report. Joe, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but when I asked about the Lees report earlier, I think you gave a very good picture of what it is, but I don't think you gave a clear picture of what it wasn't. I think we need a clear picture given to the Board of Governors about what the Lees report is not. And that really is the fact that there weren't agrologists involved in this, there weren't ecologists involved in this process. And when talking about a farm, it seems highly flawed to not have the people who actually understand farms, how they operate, and what their functions are, and what would be involved in moving them, consulted in a process that has huge implications for that space. So that needs to be part of the picture, and also there needs to be an understanding of where the farm came from. And given that the farm was the end result of a 5-year process, an investigation into where the best place on campus to put a farm would be, that actually did involve those types of expertise. I think when you look at these two different processes and compare them, it seems quite clear that one group understood farming, the other group did not. And if you're actually talking about what to do with the farm, perhaps you should look at what the long-term study that actually was extensive and involved experts suggested, and then weigh that in comparison to this other report, and looking at it purely scientifically, just what was involved in the reporting, and what can we learn from it, and what does that tell us about what to do. So I think that needs to be part of the picture that's put forward. So to take this to a positive place, though, and I know that our time's relatively limited here, how do we become the #1 green campus? I think really what upsets me the most about this process is there's nothing that's inspiring about it. I mean, this is just kind of a bland, maybe we could do this or maybe we could do that, let's talk about mixed use, and I almost feel like it was a bit of a push-pull. I feel like we're being given some options that seem relatively logical. And I mean, obviously, you're going to get some density around the transit hub, perhaps there'll be some more density around the faculties. I mean, these seems like the sort of the basic principles that anybody has a cursory understanding of planning would think that these things would happen. So to be asked, which of these different options do you prefer, how do you feel about it, seems a little disingenuous to me. I feel like to truly be able to participate in this process, we need a greater level of detail and a greater level of input. And I think we'd all like to see a process that actually inspires us, that gives us a picture of where this institution could be in the future, and would actually make us a leader and an innovator, and would be something that we could all be proud of. So. So just as a conclusion point, I think it's really important that we don't just have a memorandum, a moratorium on development in this area. And this is my personal biggest concern. I think, we could go through this entire process, and at the end of the day, that could still be the future housing reserve. And maybe there wouldn't be any condos on it right away, but there would be nothing changed in the zoning or changed in the recognition or changed in the budgeting for this area that would actually recognize it in perpetuity. And I think that's a real shame, because this actually could be a magnet for investment. This could actually be a source of revenue for the institution. There's a lot of people out there that would like to invest their money in this farm, that would like to turn it into a world-class food center, that would like to turn it into a world-class center for study of food systems and how we can live in balance with them. But if we don't have that security, there isn't the incentive for research, there isn't the incentive for the kind of investment that's possible. So if we don't have that security for the farm in the long term, all this entire process is really a waste. And it's a shame that we've got such knowledge and such skills on this campus, but yet so little of it's being utilized. I mean, there's so many people who are leaders and thought leaders in the areas of smart growth and innovation and food security. Who are people who are shaping the way that we all see the world, not just on campus, but around this whole community, throughout our region, and even broader than that. And yet, we don't see any of that reflected in this. So there seems to be a real disconnect between what's possible at this institution and what we see before us. So I guess really what I'm saying is we'd like to see a fourth option on the table. We want to see phase 4.5, and I guess we're challenging the campus and community planning to raise the bar and come back with something that actually inspires us.